This video is for the lesson 9.8 homework. I apologize that I did not get the first two problems. You will see how to do exponential regression on the next two that I do. So we're just going to pick up from here. All right, the B value is 0.389. Will that 9 make it round?
Yes.
So it's going to be 0.39x. Don't be too hard on yourself for rounding. I can tell usually, and I know the calculators kind of spit out different estimates every time, so don't stress yourself too much over the rounding. All right, so here's where these get trickier, these word problems. These are intentionally written to mess you up, okay? So this is the deer population in a certain state park is shown in the table below. What I don't like about this is I don't want to use 2011 as my X value. So I'm going to make that value a 0 because that's when we're starting the count. That's the oldest year. So when they started counting deer in this park, there were 30. The next year, because they're in chronological order, there were 60. 2 years after it, 3 years after it. It just makes the data easier to handle for the calculator, okay? All right, so we're going to go to lists and spreadsheets. X next to the A, Y next to the B. Put in my new X values, and then the Y values stay the same. Those don't have to change. All right, it's menu 41A. Change the X list to X, the Y list to Y. Hit OK, and then write your equation down. All right, f of x equals, so the A value is 30, the B value is 2. That's the easy part. Here's where it gets tougher. What is a good prediction of the number of deer present in the state park in the year 2020? So you have to decide. Year 2020, is that an X or a Y value? X, but we didn't use the years. So what X value would represent 2020?
Oh, wait.
9.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we can do now, since we've already done regression, in the calculator, we don't want to clear this, but if you click home and then graph, remember you can go up and it puts that equation, it puts that regression equation in there. All you have to do is hit enter. And then I can pull up the table and I can find where X is 9 in the table, and then the Y value, its partner, is my answer. All right, this one, what's a good prediction of the year that the deer population was at 7,680? So is population an X or a Y? That's a Y. So I have to look for that number in the Y column. Now, this is an 8. It says X equals 8, but it says what's the year? So what year was represented or would be represented by 2019? That's where these get tricky because there's a lot of flip-flopping, going back and forth, all that nonsense. These are the questions I despise on the EOC. You shouldn't have to jump through that many hoops to prove your basic knowledge of an exponential. It's stupid. Okay? But just understand, because these are easy problems to work, they do things like that intentionally to make them difficult. Okay, so the next one is even worse. The concentration in milligrams per liter of caffeine remaining in an adult after drinking a cup of coffee is given in 6-hour increments by the data in the table below. Determine a regression equation. So the X values look good, so I'm going to just start fresh here and do the regression on it. All right, menu 41A. X list is X, Y list is Y, and then there's my values. So f of x equals 330 times 0.5 to the x. Tucker, did she ever respond?
No. She asked me to meet her out there.
Are you going that way?
No.
Then tell her Miss Stallings the one saying this.
She said it, no, I'll grab it.
Yeah, just tell her I'm not going that way. Sorry. I don't want you to have to haul all that stuff out there because I know it's heavy. That bag and that sleeping bag. I don't know. She just asked me first period, and I'll get it 8th, and I'm like, okay. Huh? Oh, she's going to that D now
Oh
thing.
yeah, I do know.
What is that?
It's a church thing.
It's that thing that Brody was wanting to go to.
Did you tell him that?
Do the random preacher's house that thing?
No, it's just that other, just church members.
Church camp cut.
Yeah. Whoa. Somebody's streaming in.
Oh.
You wanna mess with them? Yeah, you're on mine. It even says stalling personal. Okay. So here's our questions, right? What is a good prediction of the amount of caffeine left in the body after 24 hours? Okay. 24 hours, is that an X or a Y? X. But does this represent 1 hour? No. It's given in 6-hour increments. So the 1 is 6 hours later. That's the first check. So then this would be 12. This would be 18. So what would X be here for 24 hours? 4. All right. So, again, guaranteed answer choice A. Let me pull up the graph here and show you. I guarantee you if that was a multiple choice question, answer choice A would be where X is 24. It would be something like that. That is exactly what they do. Okay? Because you get tired taking this thing. But we want when X is 4. So 20.625. And then it gets even more devious. It says, assuming the rate of decay of the caffeine remains constant, if a cup of coffee contains 540 milligrams of caffeine, after how many hours would 135 milligrams remain in the body? Now we have to change the regression equation. So the rate of decay stays the same. So we get to keep this number, but the starting amount is now 540. So this is a cup of coffee that's maybe a small, has 330 milligrams, and then a medium has 540. So we have to rewrite this. Again, we can keep the rate of decay, and then we need to start with a fresh graph. Type this one in. All right, and then 135 milligrams, is that an X or a Y?
Why?
So we're looking for where 135 is as a Y. X equals 2, but how many hours is that? 12. 12 hours. So again, this whole process, it's just the second increment, and the second increment, or the second, say blood draw would happen in 12 hours. So again, deliberately trying to mess you up. So just be really careful. Read them. I always tell kids, give the test what it wants, not what you want. Nobody cares what you want. It's a way to make you remember to really read carefully.